Hi, the Night Confession channel is with you. Welcome. On my channel, I talk about women's stories that my subscribers send me.
I often think about that night when everything changed. We were sitting in the dim light. The room smelled like tea and something warm, homely. He came closer, hugged me, and in his arms, there was the familiar spark we always had, the one that always led to something more. But that evening, I wasn't ready. I just wanted to sit next to him, to feel him beside me, without the expectation of the next step. And I said softly, almost in a whisper, "You sexualize me too much." Not with anger, not as an accusation, more like a plea. See me as a whole person, not just my body. He tensed ever so slightly. I felt his arms pause for a moment, then he just nodded and let go. I thought we would talk about it later, but later never came. The next day, he acted as if nothing had happened, joked, asked about my day, but there were no longer those glances that used to make my breath catch. At first, I didn't even realize something had shifted. We still have dinner together, talk about the news, watch movies, but little by little I noticed he stopped touching me the way he used to. No casual touches, no playful looks, no teasing hints. And suddenly, I realized he had completely stopped making the first move. A month passed. I tried to excuse it with tiredness, stress, work. But deep down I knew the reason was me. Those words, and the longer the silence lasted, the higher the wall between us grew. We talked about everything except the one thing that was quietly pulling us apart. 2 months. By then, I could almost physically feel the distance. Lying next to him at night, I felt as if we were in different worlds. I found myself missing not just intimacy, but the feeling of being wanted. The way he used to just walk up to me, say nothing, and pull me close. I tried approaching him myself, but he would gently pull away. "I'm tired, I have to get up early." And so I stopped trying. Inside me grew a strange mix of guilt and resentment. I wanted him to want me again, but I didn't want to have to ask for it. 6 months. I realized we hadn't touched each other like that in half a year. And now, when I was angry mostly at myself. I was the one who said those words. I was the one who set the tone. And now he was just living inside the boundaries I had drawn. Sometimes when I catch his gaze, there's no resentment there, no coldness. There's caution, as if he's afraid to do something I might take the wrong way again. As if he's constantly checking whether he might be about to break some unspoken rule. I wonder if maybe he took my words not as a request, but as an accusation. Maybe he decided I didn't want him at all. And maybe he stopped making moves not out of hurt, but out of respect for my boundaries. But that doesn't make it easier, because respect in this case feels like distance, like coldness, like emptiness. Time to time I replay that night in my head, that phrase, his reaction. What if I had just taken his hand and said, "I love it when you want me, but sometimes I just need you to be here without it leading somewhere." Maybe he would have understood. Maybe nothing would have changed. But history allows no what else. I'm just starting to notice that our silent agreement to keep our distance has become part of our daily life. We no longer look for reasons to be alone together. We can go to bed at different times and it bothers no one. He used to always say, "Come with me." Now he just wishes me good night and goes to bed alone. Sometimes it feels like I'm not a wife anymore, just a roommate. And that feeling kills me more than the absence of sex. Because sex can be brought back if there's warmth. But even warmth has become a rare guest here. We can still laugh at the same movie, but in that laughter, there's no longer the spark. We can still hug goodbye in the morning, but it's mechanical, a habit. Sometimes I think maybe he's waiting for me to break the silence. Maybe he's waiting for me to admit I want you far. But I'm so afraid of losing face, of admitting I was wrong, that I'd rather endure this cold war. Even though every day in this war turns us into strangers.
Yet the other day, I caught myself thinking, what if he's already accepted that we'll never go back to how we were? And if he's accepted that, maybe I should too. But how you accept that the person who once looked at you could desire and love now looks at you simply as someone that they air home with? I keep asking myself what's worse, being wanted too often or not being wanted at all. And is it even possible to bring back something that vanished because of one careless sentence? I don't know the answer, but I do know this. If we keep staying silent, we'll never have an answer.
Thanks for your viewing. The best gift from you will be a like and a subscription.